गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दना व्रजचनरञ्जना यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी यशोदनन्दना व्रजचनरञ्जना यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी यशो यमुना वनचारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan. Jaya Jagannatha, Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Mai, Jagannatha, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Gurudharma Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadramai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki. All glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire nashtaprayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate ruttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Prithu Maharaj meeting with the four Kumaras, text number 25. Hare Muhustatpara Karnapura Gunabhidhanena Vijrambamanaya Bhaktya hi asanga sadasattanatmani Syanirgune Brahmani Chanjasarati Harer Muhustat Parakarnapura Gunabhidanena Vijrambamanaya Bhaktya hi asanga sadasatyanatmani Syanirgune Brahmani Chanjasarati Harer Muhustat Parakarnapura Gunabhidhanena Vijrambamanaya Bhaktya hi sanga sadasatyanatmani Syanirgune Brahmani Chanjasarati. Yeah. Atyasanga sadasatyanatmani Syanirgune Brahmani Chanjasarati. Hostat Parakarnapura Abhidhanena Vijrambamanaya Bhaktya-sanga sadasata Syanurgune Brahmacharya. Any Matajis? Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare of the Supreme Personality Godhead. Muho constantly. Tatpara in relation with the Supreme Personality Godhead. Karnapura decoration of the year. Guna Abhidanena discussing transcendental qualities. Vijramba Manaya by increasing Krishna consciousness. Bhaktya by devotion. He certainly. Asanga uncontaminated. Sat Asati the material world. Anatmani opposed to spiritual understanding. Syat should be. Nirgune in transcendence. Brahmani in the Supreme Lord. cha and anjasa, easily, ratihi, attraction. Translation: the devotee should gradually increase the culture of devotional service by constant hearing of the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These pastimes are like ornamental decorations on the ears of the devotees. By rendering devotional service and transcending the material qualities, one can easily be fixed in transcendence in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. This verse is especially mentioned to substantiate the devotional process of hearing the subject matter. A devotee does not like to hear anything other than subjects dealing with spiritual activities or the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can increase our propensity for devotional service by hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from realized souls. The more we hear from realized souls, the more we make advancement in our devotional life. The more we advance in devotional life, the more we become detached from the material world. The more we become detached from the material world, as advised by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the more we increase in attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, a devotee who actually wants to make progress in devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead, must lose interest in sense enjoyment and associating with persons who are after money and sense gratification. This is the advice of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Niskincanasya bhagavad bhajanonmukasya paramparam jigmishor bhavasagarasya sandarshanam vishayina matayoshitam cha ahanta hanta vishabhakshanto apiyasadu. The word Brahmani used in this verse is commented upon by the impersonalists or professional reciters of Bhagavatam, or mainly advocates of the caste system by demonic birthright. They say that Brahmani means the impersonal Brahman, but they cannot conclude this with reference to the context of the words Bhaktya and Gunavidhanena. According to the impersonalists, there are no transcendental qualities in the impersonal Brahman. Therefore, we should understand that Brahmani means the Supreme Personality Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead as admitted by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, wherever the word Brahma is used, it must refer to Krishna, not to the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti shabdate. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan can all be taken in total as Brahman, but where there is reference to the word bhakti or remembrance of the transcendental qualities, this indicates the Supreme Personality Godhead, not the impersonal Brahman. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parishana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurasve Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vacha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachanam, Pangullangayate girim, Yat kripaha tamaham mande, Shri Guru Dinatarinam. So, before I start speaking, I seek the blessings of His Grace Anand Maipru and all the Asmal Vaishnavas, so that I can speak on this verse for my purification. So here Prabhupada is mentioning actually that we should hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam from realized souls. But actually I am not realized. I have not even realized that I am soul. But seeking mercy of all devotees so that I can speak on this. So in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, here Maharaj Prithu, he is ideal king, and he is asking genuinely questions to the four Kumaras. So in the 15th verse, he was asking the four Kumaras, I am completely assured that personalities like you are the only friends for persons who are blazing in the fire of material existence. I therefore ask you, how in this material world we can very soon achieve the ultimate goal of life. So we see Maharaj Prithu already he got darshan of the Lord, and Lord was extremely pleased by his service, and he blessed him. But here Maharaj Prithu is setting an example for all of us that what should be our mood in receiving great souls, and how we should hear from them. So as today's verse talks about the process of hearing, here Prithu Maharaj himself is teaching all of us how we should very submissively hear, although he himself is such a great self-realized soul. So after hearing the questions of Prithu Maharaj, Sanat Kumar is he is glorifying him for the questions. So he is saying, Sadhu Prushtam Maharaja Sarvabhuta Hitatmana Bhavata Vidusha Chapi Sadhana Matir Idrishi. So he is saying, my dear King Prithu, I am very nicely questioned by you. Such questions are beneficial for all living entities, especially because they are raised by you, who are always thinking of the good of others. Although you know everything, you ask such questions because that is the behavior of saintly persons. Such intelligence is befitting your position. So we see in Srimad Bhagavatam or in Bhagavad Gita that the pure devotees of the Lord, actually they are self-realized and they have so much love for the Lord, but still they take such a humble role, submissive role, and ask questions for the benefit of the whole humanity. Okay, but they themselves feel they are fallen, so that's why they ask. It's not that they ask uh, thinking that okay, I ask questions so that all others get benefited. So no, they are in the mood that they are very fallen, and they want to hear so that they get mercy of the Lord and his devotees. Same way we see Rupa and Sanatan also, when they approached Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they approached in a very humble mood, although they were very exalted. So in this particular verse, Sanat Kumar is explaining how one can increase the culture of devotional service by constant hearing of the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality Godhead. So Prabhupada is so nicely explaining the benefits of hearing in this verse. So constant hearing of the glories of the Lord is very, very essential. We see that Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It's not mentioned that we should hear Bhagavatam once in a while, no, Nityam, constantly. And Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata. So there is always emphasis on constant hearing of the glories of the Lord. Because the devotee of the Lord, he finds shelter only in the Lord. He doesn't want any other shelter of this world. It's not that we take shelter for some time and then other part of the day we take shelter of some other things, right? Oh, because it is part of my morning program, so I take shelter of Lord for some time because I am supposed to take, supposed to hear. So then it becomes a ritual. Uh, but a devotee of the Lord, he constantly wants to hear because that is his nourishment. That is what satisfies the soul. That is what re-establishes the loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is his constitutional position, to hear the glories of the Lord. So that's why he wants to hear. So here in the previous purport, Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning something very, very wonderful. So in the previous purport, Prabhupada is saying the word smritya is very important in spiritual life. Smritya means remembering Krishna always. Life should be molded in such a way that one cannot remain alone without thinking of Krishna. We should live in Krishna so that while eating, sleeping, walking, and working, we remain only in Krishna. Our Krishna conscious society recommends that we arrange our living so that we can remember Krishna. In our ISKCON society, the devotees, while engaged in making spiritual sky incense, are also hearing about the glories of Krishna or his devotees. The Shastra recommends Smartavya Satatam Vishnu. Lord Vishnu should be remembered always, constantly. Vismartavyo Najatuchit. Vishnu should never be forgotten. That is the spiritual way of life. Smritya. This remembrance of the Lord can be continued if we hear about him constantly. So, constantly. So, the goal of life is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. But how will you remember Krishna? It cannot happen mechanically. It's not like we have that Prabhupada Dunvi on. No. No, we have to hear about the Supreme Lord, right? Then the remembrance comes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, right? After you hear and chant the glories of the Lord, then comes the remembrance of the Lord. So, that's how a devotee should practice. Prabhupada is again emphasizing in that purport that one should mold his life in such a way that he always hears the glories of the Lord, right? So it's not only in the morning program that we hear, that we should try as much as possible in all aspects of life, as Prabhupada is mentioning, while eating, sleeping, and working, walking, in all walks of life, one always remains only in Krishna. Prabhupada is mentioning so clearly. So, because that is the goal of our life, to develop love for Krishna. So, how much to hear? No, unlimitedly you can hear. But like eating, we can hear only limited because our stomach is limited. But hearing, no limit, right? Our ears can feel the transcendental vibrations of the Lord unlimitedly and eternally also. Because it's our constitutional duty to hear the glories of the Lord, right? To chant and hear the glories of the Lord. So Lord is so kind that He has made arrangement in such a way that we can hear constantly 24 hours, right? But only thing is we are not on to that level, right? We get into ignorance passion, and we forget about hearing the glories of the Lord. And there is no dearth. It's not that, oh, maybe the subject matter is less to hear. No, there's unlimited subject matter. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, so many scriptures, right? And so many devotees also very wonderfully explain all the scriptures. So if you keep on hearing eternally also, there is no end. Because there is so much. That's why Lord Ananta is eternally glorifying the Lord with his unlimited mouths, and he is never repeating the same qualities of the Lord, because there are unlimited glories of the Lord. Just imagine. Now if you ask, okay, you start glorifying Lord, how much can we glorify? Maybe 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours max. Right? But Lord Ananta is eternally glorifying with his unlimited mouths and no end. So the glories of Lord are unlimited. Only we are limited because of our conditioned nature. Right? So, but when we start hearing more and more about the Lord, Lord will help us to develop taste for hearing. And then our capacity to hear will increase. Okay? So, and the devotees of the Lord, Prabhupada is mentioning, that should not like to hear anything other than the subject matters dealing about the spiritual subject matters or pastimes of the Lord. So we should be very, very alert, even in the association. Sometimes in the name of association, we only discuss prajalpa, kya chal raha hai. Right? It may not be, it may be just about some faults of some devotee, or some rumors, right? Which is in no sense Krishna consciousness, right? So we see the sages of Naimisharanya, they were very, very alert, even when hearing from Sutta Goswami. So when Sutta Goswami was discussing about Kali attacking mother cow, immediately they said, oh, why are you talking this? Is this in relation with Krishna? Right? So then when they heard that this is in relation with Parikshit and the Lord, so then they were willing to hear. Otherwise, they didn't want to even hear any violence without any connection with Krishna. Like Prabhupada says, okay, devotees like to hear even about Kurukshetra. Why? Not because it is exciting. Oh, there is war and action. Right? So, no, not because of that. Those who are in passion, yeah, they may like such things to hear. But the point is, because there is the Supreme Lord, because it is in relation with the Supreme Lord, that's why we want to hear about Kurukshetra war. Otherwise, no, we don't hear about so many other this Panipat war, or so many other World War II, so many other wars are also there, right? But we don't like to hear them because it has no relation with the Supreme Lord, right? So a devotee should be very, very alert in what he is hearing or what he is reading also. Sometimes even devotees, they join so many WhatsApp groups, right? So in a day, 1-2 hours goes in just checking what came, right? So instead of reading, studying Prabhupada books, we are just checking what messages have come. So unless it is absolutely required, one should not actually join too many groups which are not required. What is absolutely required for our service? No, that's all. That much is good enough. Why to join? No, all the ISKCON temple groups I'll join. Right? It's not required. Right? First of all, we should study Prabhupada books. Right? Many devotees, they don't study only. Even after 5 years, 10 years, no, they don't even open Bhagavatam, or they just are in the first canto. For how many years? For last 3 years, I am still in first canto only. So then there is no progress, right? So here Prabhupada is saying that we can increase our propensity for devotional service. He is telling the benefits. So by hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from realized souls. So actually, we are fortunate that Srila Prabhupada gave us Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, his purpose. So actually when we study Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, it means actually we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada, right? At least if you can't come to hear Bhagavatam every day, you can study Prabhupada books at least morning and evening, so that you are nourished with the blessings of the Lord. So, and the more we hear, the more we make advancement. So, Krishna consciousness is a science, and Prabhupada is so nicely explaining how the benefits will take place by hearing. So, and the more we advance, what is the result? The more we become detached. Bhakti pareshanubhavir viraktir anyatrascha. So, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So when you develop higher taste in Krishna consciousness, automatically you give up the lower taste of this world, right? So sometimes devotees say that, oh, I'm getting lusty or greedy or distracted, too many material desires are popping up. So the problem is, because we are not developing higher taste, then automatically the mind tends to go to the lower taste of this world, right? The more you elevate yourself in Krishna consciousness, the more you become detached from your body and mind, right? Otherwise, instead of thinking of Krishna, we tend to think more about our own body and our mind. Even the mind, what the mind says, we humbly follow. So that's what should not be done. So, yeah. So, how to develop the taste? In Bhagavatam, it is also mentioned, Shushusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Katadruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nisevanat. So, by serving great souls, who have the taste for hearing the glories of the Lord, you also develop the taste. So, Prabhupada says, by serving the pure devotees of the Lord, you get their qualities. So, the pure devotees have the quality of their taste for hearing. So, automatically you also develop the taste. So, eagerly hearing the glories of the Lord, Prabhupada says, is a first qualification to go back home, back to Godhead. It is a first qualification to eagerly hear the glories of the Lord. So, but why don't we develop that eagerness in general? Because one reason is that we have so many other priorities in life. We think that so many other things are more important for us, right? But we see from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam that this should be the priority of our life, not other unnecessary mundane things of this world, right? So Parikshit Maharaj, when he was given death sentence, so he didn't try to retaliate or find out where is Takshak and kill him. No, he didn't try to retaliate in that way. What he did? Tamopayantam pratiyantu vipra ganga cha devi dita chittameshe didopasrishta kuhataks takshakova dasatalam gayata vishnu gata. So he said that, okay, now I am cursed to die in 7 days. So let me constantly hear the glories of the Lord from the sages. So he became so fearless. He said this, no, I have taken the lotus feet of the Lord in my heart, sitting at the Ganges, the banks of Ganges. So now let Takshak, whatever bird may come and that snake bird may come and bite me. No, I have no fear. So he understood that only by hearing the glories of the Lord, one can become fearless and come out of all material attachment for one's body and mind. And we don't tend to understand or have that urgency in hearing. So we feel that, okay, I can hear some other time, or no, or still, no, my time for death is not there like Parikshit. But actually, a devotee understands that death can come at any time. So Prabhupada says that Parikshit was fortunate that he had 7 days time, but we don't even know that, right? So a devotee has to prepare himself as if every day could be the last day of his life. So also, a devotee should be very fearful of Maya. So Prabhupada said, the only worry I have is that, no, he said that my disciples are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. Krishna bhuliya jeev bhogavancha kare jhapatiya mayatare. So the moment you forget Krishna, Krishna bhuliya. So why? Because you want to do bhoga, you want to enjoy sense gratification. Immediately Maya catches you. Okay. So it's not that maybe, no, immediately. Japatiya. It's not that, acha, maybe Maya will catch. No, no, immediately, within a second, right? Little bit you are distracted, Maya is there. So why? Because Maya wants to make sure that the living entity is really pure, and is only interested in taking shelter of the Lord. Okay. So because in the spiritual world, the living entity is supposed to constantly glorify the Lord, right? If he has any other material interest, then after going to spiritual world also, he'll just fulfill his own desires, right? He wants sense gratification even in the spiritual world. So that's why Maya is making sure that we are 100% pure, before going to the spiritual world. So in that sense, we should be grateful to Maya, because constantly it is helping us to take shelter of Krishna. Right? So, so a devotee understanding that Maya is very strong, and the only way I can come out of Maya is by taking shelter of Krishna. Right? So that's why let me constantly chant and hear the glories of the Lord. Right? Otherwise, at any moment, I may fall prey to Maya. Right? So also, when we hear, okay, when we come and hear Srimad Bhagavatam or the glories of the Lord, so we should hear submissively. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So if there is no submissiveness, then the knowledge will not enter our heart. Right? If you think that I already know all this, or we just sit because I am supposed to sit, because it is part of my schedule, or otherwise they will catch me. So then it becomes only ritual. Then our heart will not be open to hear the glories of the Lord. Right? So we should be grateful, we should be desperate, we should be attentive to hear the glories of the Lord. Then the message of the Lord will enter our heart and make a deep impression. So once one devotee, Nityamukta Prabhu, was telling that for materialistic things we are so eager to hear. So if you have interest in some material things of this world, we are so eager, like cricket match. Like people are so eager and desperate to hear, or to see, to hear and see. Right? Sometimes if there is Australia in the match, in the night it starts, still people are ready to wake up 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock and watch. And if the match is going on and somebody comes in between the TV, they'll, hey, hato, right? I don't want to miss even one single moment, because they are so eager, so they are so desperate. They don't want to even miss even one moment, right? So because they have interest for all these material subject matters, which are all actually temporary and illusory, right? How does it matter? No, the cricket match, right? It's only Actually, if you very deeply observe, no, everybody wants to be the controller enjoyer, right? They want to show off that we are the greatest. Cricketers want to show off that we are great. I am great, my country is great, right? Same way those are watching also. No, why India should win? So that India is great, and because I am in India, I am also great, right? I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, right? And if India loses, oh, India is waste. So that means I am also waste. Oh, no, 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 no. I can't tolerate this. because if I lose, no, then I am losing my enjoyment. So that's why when India wins, they give garlands to cricketers, right? Because they are fanning your false ego. Very good, very good. Play well. you know. And if they lose, then they give chapel garland. You fellows, what you're doing? You're not playing well. How can I show my face now? No, I lost. We got lost, right? But hardly it matters, right? It's only matter of fulfilling our false ego, right? We are only trying to satisfy our false ego, right? By watching all these mundane things, right? So wasting so much of time, energy, money, my lord, just to fulfill one's false ego, right? And when we say, please come here, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, which is real subject matter, which will deliver you from this material world, sorry, no time. Huh? So for useless, temporary, illusory things which are satisfying false ego, you have time. And you sacrifice everything for it. You are ready to sacrifice job, and sometimes people sacrifice their studies, even on exam, right? Everything they are ready to sacrifice. But for the sake of hearing, oh, sorry, no, I am very busy. Busy in what? In fulfilling your false ego, right? So, one should understand that this is all useless stuff, right? So, Lord is so kind that He is descending in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishne Swadamo Pagate Dharma Gnana Devi Saha Kalo Nashtam Drishamesha Puranarko Adunodita. The Supreme Lord Himself personally is appearing even in Kali Yuga in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam to remove all the darkness in your heart, which is so much filling you in ignorance, right? It is filling us with so much ignorance, but we are still want to sit in darkness only and watch cricket and movies, right? Instead of coming to the sunlight of Krishna consciousness, we are still eager to hear those things. No, not only non-devotees, even devotees also. No, sometimes we see that still they have so much attachment for all these cricket movies, all these things. So, uh, so one should understand that Krishna himself is coming in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he is giving his causeless mercy. So, if I am not eager to receive him, that means I am neglecting his mercy. Yeah, we are actually neglecting Krishna. Because Krishna is coming, right, in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. He wants to enter our heart. But we are saying that, no, I don't want you. Right? If you are sleeping or if you are thinking of other things, that means that is the same thing, right? You are saying Krishna that, sorry, I don't want you. I am interested in my job, my family, my body, my mind. I have so many other areas of interest. No, I want to think about them. I want to meditate about them. Krishna, no, some other time. No, you can wait. Right? So even while hearing Bhagavatam, if you are not very attentive, submissive, so we are actually neglecting Krishna, who is coming in the form of sound vibration. Right? Krishna is coming. But how we are receiving Krishna? Right? That is very important. We are not receiving him eagerly, right? So if a guest comes, we are very eager to serve him, very eager to hear from him, and reciprocate, then he is happy. But if a guest comes and you are seeing here, there, and you are not at all showing any interest, then he will go away, right? So how we reciprocate with Krishna? Ye thamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamiham. So that's how Krishna also reciprocates. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we will see so many verses actually telling about the importance of hearing the glories of the Lord. Any section you take, that is the first thing focused on. That is the first thing. So devotees also, it's not that only during Bhagavatam we try to hear, but even other times we can chant. Like once His Holiness Navendra Swami Maharaj was telling, like if Prabhujis are driving car or bike, they can sing. They can sing Hare Krishna and they can drive. Maharaj was telling. And then he was telling Matajis, okay, they are cooking, so they can sing Hare Krishna and So that way one can keep themselves always Krishna conscious. Or one can hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So many lectures we have of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples. So there's no dearth. So if we are eager to hear, then Lord will give us the intelligence, when to hear, how to hear, right? So tesham satayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayantite. So if you are eager to constantly hear, glorify the Lord from within will give you the intelligence, by which you can come to Him very quickly. So, but because we are not showing that eagerness, that's why Lord also makes us forget. Lord is very active as Paramatma. इसको कुछ इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. No, इसको कुछ भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. So then Lord also will make us think of so many other useless things of this world, right? But if somebody is eager, oh, he has interest to hear about me. So then Lord will help us. Okay, you do this. He will give us ideas. How can we be Krishna conscious? So the super soul is very active. Only we are not active. We are inactive. We are dull. We are sleeping. Right? That's the problem. Prabhupada says that the super soul is eagerly waiting. When will this conditioned soul turn his face towards me? When will he be eager to hear? Right? And the moment the conditioned soul shows interest, Lord will arrange so many ways and means to come to him. Lord's mercy can descend in our life in unlimited ways, right? Through Bhagavatam, through devotees, and so many unlimited ways, right? So the Lord is opening the doors for the spiritual world and calling us back home, back to God. But we are not seeing at that door. We are still looking back at the doors of the material world only. That's the problem, right? So we should look towards the Lord and develop these qualities so that we can hear. We can go back home, back to God by developing that love for Krishna. So actually Prabhupada says if one attentively and submissively hears Srimad Bhagavatam, very soon the Lord will appear in their heart. In another place Prabhupada says that if somebody submissively, attentively hears, the heart becomes a screen where the pastimes of the Lord are displayed. So the problem is that we don't hear submissively and attentively. So that's why those impressions of the Lord are not appearing in our heart. Some other impressions are actually appearing because of not having those qualities. So Srimad Bhagavatam never mentions that you just hear just like that. No. There are certain parameters mentioned how we should hear Bhagavatam. So only if you follow that parameters, Only if you have that qualities, then you can make advancement. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to make progress in Krishna consciousness. So it's already late. Any one question? Yes, ma'am.
Hare Krishna, bro. How can we understand that the constant hearing mentioned here is different from Atyahar or Jnana Prayas?
Atyahar is for material things, not for spiritual.
I mean, like even
The hearing is never Atyahar.
I mean, like overhearing is
We
also.
never heard. Prabhupada never said.
What about
Where Prabhupada
Jnana
said,
Prayas?
no, no, that is if you are hearing for the sake of just gaining knowledge without applying it, that is Gnana Prayas. If somebody hears just to make show off that I have so much knowledge, but he is not applying, then it is Gnana Prayas.
Like
Like
we
there are some people, like once Radheshankar was telling, there was a person who read all Prabhupada books, but chanting 0 rounds. Why? Because he is only reading with the motive that what he said, let me see, no, with a scholarly tend of attitude. He is not reading with the mood to apply. So if you read or hear with the mood to apply, then you can hear unlimited. What we are doing in spiritual world, what we are going to do, or what pure devotees are doing in spiritual world, there is no atyahar, there is no indigestion of hearing. But one thing is, we should. That's why the one thing I forgot is, when we hear, we should also do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. This is mentioned in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that one should hear, then one should contemplate on the subject matter, so that that subject matter goes deep. And then one also does Nididhyasanam, that how to apply this in my life. Means he actually starts applying that teachings in one's life. So then one gets realization. So hearing, yeah, when we hear, we should not just leave it. So we should also contemplate and see how we can apply it. So that is also part of hearing. So the example is given of cow. Cow whole day it grazes. So later on, it has in the stomach, the cow has 6 what we call bags. So then the cow starts taking out the grass again from the stomach into the mouth, and again it starts chewing. Like you see the cow when it sits, it again starts like this. There's no food there, but still it is again chewing. It's again bringing out the food and again chewing it and again swallowing it. So same way devotees may hear a lot, but they should also contemplate on that subject matter and see that how I can apply it and actually apply it in their lives. So that is also part of hearing. So yeah, sometimes people hear, but don't apply anything. So because they don't hear with the mood to apply. But actually hearing means applying also. So they should also see how we can apply it in one's own life. Yeah. So yeah, it can become atyahar in one sense if you hear only for the sake of no, gaining some knowledge, so that I'll become scholarly or I'll be very knowledgeable, and one is not applying only in one's life what is hearing. Yeah, it can become like that. Okay, fine. Thank you. So we'll end here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. हरे कृष्ण.